So what are you leaning towards getting?
I have no idea, genuinely. I live in a purple state that's probably not going to be purple, so my inclination is to pick something up that I probably won't be able to get in another 6 months. But there's not really anything I actually need, and so it's effectively just flagrant wasting of money.
Yeah, you should buy a staccato.
I, Here's the thing: I have a prohibitively expensive, over the top, like impractical competition pistol, which is cool, but it's this is gonna sound super douchey, but it's like 2011s were way cooler when no one knew about them, and now that everyone does, it's like, oh, you know, it you can get one for $800, or you can get like one for $500 from Turkey. It's like it's not as cool anymore. And also, like, if you know rich gun guys, it's not fun because then it's like, oh well, his 2011's $8,500. Like, it's not that cool. So it's like, oh well, this is just
this is a CZ guy worldview.
100% it is.
Yeah, that's like that's like the gun equivalent of, you know, those guys who will see someone wearing like a Rolex, like Submariner or something, and be like, oh yeah, I mean, sure, I guess that's okay, but you know, if you're really into watches, you would know that that's still for peasants. You know, that's
Look, it's not quite that bad. Here's my point. I don't need anything. It's not like there's like some category where I'm like, oh, I need to have that base covered. So this is purely in the realm of like aesthetic luxury goods. Yeah, I've got my Timex covered. I don't need a watch for that purpose. And so it's like, at this point, it's like, okay, well, what just tickles my tism? You know, what activates my deeply fried neurons? And yeah, I don't even really have an excuse. It's a terrible, terrible affliction that I've come under. And I think, Lee, the exact words were, "Please shoot me before I do this," or something typically melodramatic.
Well, there's not like a great other place to put money right now. You know what I mean? Like, the market is kind of risky. Precious metals are, you know, like gold's kind of floating around an all-time high. So it's like not a great time to buy in. I mean, you may as well waste it on something that's stupid.
Oh, exactly. Because at least then it's like killing yourself with, you know, 30 ounces of silver is difficult and embarrassing. Where, you know, if you disgrace your family, it's like if you shoot yourself 16 times with a 32, not only will you eventually die, but it's very clear that you were sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is something wrong with you for wanting a 32 ACP.
You know who I blame? Carl Dahl.
Yeah.
The world's chief 32 ACP propagandist.
Yeah, that is truly like I respect the concept of like returning to tradition by just really fully committing to being like a 32 guy or like a 25 ACP guy. You know, because there are those guys who just, it's like there's just better choices out there. But if you're going to do it, you just have to, you know, commit to the bid, I guess.
Well, it's the equivalent of the guy who's like, yeah, I'm going to return to tradition by giving myself typhoid. It's like, okay, yeah, well, look, it is Lindy, it is traditional, but you don't have to. There are other options.
Yeah, like there are still guys who carry 357 SIG, which is insane.
Well, yeah, like that church shooter in Texas, right?
Yeah,
where the boomer just, you know, kindly asked him to stop what he was doing at like 50 yards with 357 SIG. 357 SIG, that falls into a slightly different category of min-maxing autism, which is the polar opposite of the 32 ACP guy who has recognized that chasing optimal performance is a waste of time. But he has settled on an equally incorrect conclusion, which is therefore nothing matters. It's the nihilists of the firearms space.
Yeah, you're right. Because the 357 SIG was like, oh, well, this is for a sky marshal to like perforate Arabs at 40,000 feet in a Boeing 727 without depressurizing the cabin. Like, it was like a real insane spec cartridge. And and 32 ACP, like 357 SIG was trying to do a bunch of things well at the same time, but 32 ACP does nothing well at all.
Which is kind of why I find it appealing, is there is no pretense of being the optimal choice. It's like, all right, well, it is small. Is it anything else? It is small.
Right.
It's really picking one variable to maximize.
You're not getting any capacity. You're not getting any. It's just
reliability. It rim locks,
It's,
despite not being a rim case.
Yeah, it's like the performance is hit or miss, but it's weaker than a lot of other stuff, and you get less of it, and it's less available. It's like okay, it's like the British
listed
kitchen
off
knife.
4 negatives as if it were a pros and cons to weigh out.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
it's like the cartridge equivalent of like the leftist bio, where it's like 4'8", mentally challenged, drug addicted, and gay. And you're like, okay, well, this is just a list of red flags.
Yeah.
Well, look, I feel like the 357 Siga, if you will, that man is a dying breed, almost extinct.
Yeah.
They have been replaced by several different sub varieties of obnoxious performance chasing weirdos. Number one, external hollow point people. Don't trust them. Bizarre. What are you trying to do? Ballistic gelatin in slow motion. This is nonsense.
Yeah. 10 mil guys. Yeah.
That exactly what I was about to say. 10 mil guys. And then the third is people interested in weird guns from Europe, like the Alien. There's a new one called like the Dragon something. That FK is like the Borneo, whatever.
Yeah.
Lunatics.
Yeah. They really are. The autism that chases like ultra low bore axis is a separate thing. Like the Alien, like I have fired this handgun on several occasions, and it's like a rich guy gun that it's like, dude, you got to shoot this. Like it's fucking crazy. And it's just like, I don't know. It's not, it's like, yeah, man, that's
like Rock Island,
semi-automatic handgun,
square barreled gun, right? The like 5.0 or something like that. It's like the same idea, but just made in the Philippines.
Yeah. The Philippines and Turkey really comes in clutch for a lot of guys.
Yeah, I mean, actually, do I own any Turkish guns? I don't. Actually, this is not entirely true. I bought my grandpa one of those TSOS 1911s, which is
appropriate.
100%. It's the perfect gun to buy for your grandpa, which is like,
it is. Yeah, it is.
He's going to shoot it like 3 times.
Yeah.
He's basically just going to put things he bought on eBay on it. Yeah. So like as long as it fires 3 times, really, you're good.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever gotten, which fair enough. Happy to give it to him. But like for those sort of purposes, the Turks are great. What I really find aggrieving is the like, the Turkish CZ clones, like the SARS.
Yeah.
Because they've been, I guess, liquidating the older like CZ75 style guns. Mm-hmm. So like PSA and others have been selling them for like under $200. Like we're giving them away, which means they've gone out to exactly the kind of person who sees a $173 gun from Turkey and they're like, yeah, I'll buy 4 of them. It's just the exact opposite of what the world needed.
Yeah, instead of going in the center console of like Volkswagen performance coupes, hatchbacks. They're going into the center console of Nissan Altimas.
Yes.
I think that's the difference between the CZ75 and the fucking Tanfoglio and EAA series of handguns.
Look, as someone who both owns several CZs and owned a Volkswagen Jetta,
I fucking knew it, man. I fucking knew it.
The worst thing is, like, I've had a lot of cars. I'm not that old. I've had like 16 cars, and I got sick of it. So it's like, all right, I'm sick of buying and selling cars. I'm sick of having interesting cars. So I'm going to get the least interesting thing in the world, a 5-speed diesel Jetta. And no joke, best car ever. Did no maintenance to it. Drove it for like 70,000 miles, and then a deer took it out. And actually, I was live on Twitter with D. The D hosts these spaces at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
I was driving back, hit a deer, like live on the space. Got out, allegedly, of course, shot the deer because it was kind of flopping around. Got back on the space and drove home. And then insurance is like, hey, you've got like 2/3 of a deer wedged in your grill. And I'm like, yeah, but it still runs great. And they're like, sorry, bud, unfortunately, we're going to have to take that from you. Oof. And look, what can I say? Great car. But yes, the stereotype is completely true.
Yeah, man.
Here's one thing. To go back to your point about low bore axis, the real problem is that firearms, at least as they exist, is a solved technology. Like we've pretty much figured out the limits of the technology as it exists. And at this point, it's kind of just like what you like. Like obviously there are better and worse within certain categories, but like short of enablers, like things you attach to the basic thing to make it slightly easier or more pleasant to shoot. Like really, what was the last major step forward? Polymer, like polymer guns. But even then, it's like a polymer shell encasing 100-year-old Browning action, right?
Yeah. I think the last actual like mass market disruption was like this release of like the Springfield XD-S. I don't know.
Was it the grip zone?
No, as much of a cultural revolution as the grip zone was, the XD-S. This came out. I guess you would have been in pre-K when this came out. Maybe.
Yeah, so like Obama term 2, basically.
Yeah, this was like 12 years ago, something like that. Somebody can correct me on that in like the comments or something. But it was like the first real micro compact, like other than like Car had been making shit, forever. But this was the first one that like really people were stoked about in a long time. The XDS in 45. And then obviously that like evolved out, and that's what we have now with like the 365s and the Shield Pluses and the Hellcats and Hellcat Pros, and everything's like a 1.5 stack micro compact. Like the XDS is probably really what initially shaped that. Because like I would say pistol braces, but that wasn't so much like a.
That was like legal shenanigans.
Yeah,
it wasn't really like a technological.
Right. Yeah. Like that. Like pistol braces is probably the. In terms of like just pure mimetic warfare, that's probably the one. But like the XDS, I think, and even that was not that exciting. Like,
yeah, it's like slightly more advanced shape rotation. Like, how can we fit these constant size cylinders in a slightly more efficient manner?
Yeah, this did all get solved with like the release of the Glock 19. Like they could have just stopped there and been like, well, that's it for guns. Here's, like, what do you like to shoot? Everyone gets a Glock 19 where you're good. Like it would have met every need.
Oh, 100%. It's like and that is sort of the I think much of the drive for like ever greater nonsense where it's like, okay, everyone is into long range shooting now. Oh wait, no, everyone's into, like action pistol shooting. Is basically there needs to be a reason to keep talking about guns. And if we simply stayed in the like classic discussion of like, well, what do I need to secure my house? It's like, okay, there's like one conversation with three possible answers. Like, okay, maybe there's a decision tree there, but that does not an entire industry make. And so it's like the constant need for additional nonsense. And I say this as someone who is deeply bought into the ecosystem of additional nonsense. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm down this rabbit hole. This is really like the guy at AA with like a 3-day tag, telling you about the program. Like, do not listen to me.
Yeah, you should buy actually a weapon light, because I remember you posting whatever that was. You had like a $30 weapon light on.
I will actually say, to be 100% honest, that is the only eBay knockoff item I own. And I bought it because I have one of those TX22s, right? The competition ones, the top of the line models. Actually, great gun. Improbably reliable for a rimfire, and then is again for a Taurus.
Yeah.
But I exclusively shoot it suppressed, because why else would you shoot a 22?
Right.
And I wanted to have some way to attach it to my belt, because I primarily use it either while I'm hunting as sort of like all right, now you're really dead, or, for small animals. And so it's nice to have something to, attach it to. And a lot of the holsters for suppressors depend on having an X300.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to buy a $250 X300 to put on a $250 22 that I once or twice a year carry around a farm. Like this is a stupid use of it. So I did buy a $35 eBay Wadson, W-A-D-S-Y-N,
That's right.
which, by the way, that company does not exist. I've never even put batteries in it. It is literally just a adapter to a holster. It is never, I don't even know if it works. Man. But yeah, I do have at least one real X300 that I bought after Lee made fun of me for owning that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. You posted it so shamelessly. You're just like, oh yeah, it's what I have. I was like, what? Well, I did like a double take. Funny. I was like, what the fuck is that?
I did think it was kind of funny to have like a $2,000 CC custom like SPO1 Shadow with like all this random stuff on it and a $30 light. Yeah. That made me laugh.
Yeah. No, I was. I didn't really know what to think about that, honestly.
Here's the problem, and it's the same thing as everything else, which is like you get so far down the rabbit hole that the only thing that sort of activates your brain anymore is novelty. So you just need to make stupid things to like simulate that feeling of novelty, and which is again how you end up as a man under the age of 70, scrolling through like proxy bid listings for like 32 pocket pistols from Europe.
Right.
Like, I want to feel again. Is this how I regain my my youthful feeling of wonder in the world? Surely the next purchase will do it.
Are you familiar? This is something that's kind of throwing me for a loop here because it's hilarious. Are you familiar with Giuseppe Zangara?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. So obviously, this a day or 2 days ago at the time of the recording, there was that Redditor that fucking shot 3 illegals while he was trying to like attack ICE, right? And it's like. It's not funny, but it is
a little funny.
Yeah,
like that. Obviously, a horrible human tragedy, but
yeah, like, and one of the things that has kind of struck me about this, and the guy who shot up the ABC station like, is the absurdity and incoherence of some of this type of political violence. Like there are like history is full of completely reasonable instances of political violence. And I know people, like, you're not supposed to say that. But like there are a lot of examples of political violence being totally reasonable and practical. I mean, the American Revolutionary War, the assassination of Julius Caesar, like these are things where it's like totally makes sense that stuff happened. But it contrasts very starkly with like a 29-year-old, like chubby guy who has like a shabby haircut. Somehow, I don't even know what type of rifle this guy was using. I think it was like a Mosin or something. Somehow like firing into an ICE like vehicle and only hitting the people that he ostensibly was like working in their best interests, right? Like, and then shooting himself in the head and like immediately having his like death portrait scattered all over like the internet.
Which, when you think about it, it is the only target he actually intended to hit is himself.
right. And like,
it's like you're like 1 in 3. And
well,
that was
I was talking to my wife about this, and it's like a weird type of like banana peel terrorism, where you know what I mean, where it's like you fuck this up every step of the way.
On the stairs terrorism.
Yeah. You know? And not only that, but like, so this is like a ridiculous attack to launch to begin with, because there's no like what are you going to accomplish here, right? Like what like in this guy's brain, like best case scenario is that he hits 3 federal agents before killing himself. Like, that's not going to shut down ICE. That's not going to lead to a diminished ICE response or presence or anything like that. So it's like face value, it's farcical, and you know, but you know, the guy's obviously like a fuck up, and it creates this weird situation where there is absolutely no like redeeming aspect to this for anyone involved. Like, if you're, you know, a fucking like Chilean day laborer or something, like you get roped into walking 2,000 miles by some fucking Soros NGO, you know, coming through Eagle Pass, going to whatever, a Home Depot somewhere in middle America, you know, fucking doing landscaping for 6 months before you get picked up by ICE, only to catch like a 762 Russian while you sit in the back of a fucking ICE van that's probably on its way to, like, you know, a flight that's going to take you to Nigeria or some shit like that. So
yeah,
that's,
you're going to Eritrea.
right? Like, that's,
well, and can we also acknowledge the other deep irony, which this is a callback to an appearance you made on TLE, talking about the ultimate fear of every man, which is to be killed, and not only killed, but to be killed in a gay way.
Yeah.
To fall in a gay way.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like, look, every stage of this, deeply embarrassing.
Well,
you fumble at the start, you fumble at the end, and then you're sitting there dead, and you look kind of gay.
Yeah.
Like, that's just tough.
And you fucked it up so bad that like the left has disavowed you by saying that you were a right-wing person. Like, their cover for it is by saying that you were actually trying to shoot immigrants because you're like a racist Trump voter. You know, like the entire, like, not only is the act itself incoherent, but the information ecosystem around it is also incoherent, and virtually like no aspect of the story is tethered to reality, which is what is troubling to me about it. Like I look at this and I'm like, this is a weird path to be on, because none of this can be reconciled with reality, like at all.
It's from your own perspective, like your team's side. You should have just killed yourself quietly, ignominiously. Like you would have been better off. It was really like an own goal.
Right.
But to your point about like the incoherence of it, yeah, that's the other thing that's been really weird, is the like extreme disillusion of narrative. And maybe this is like too tinfoil hat, but I was kind of bouncing this back and forth with a friend of mine. He was like, yeah, it feels like 2020 to 2024, I was trying to put the genie back in the bottle, right? Trying to see like, hey, if we pull out all the stops, can we get everyone on side? Like, can we do the thing? And it seems as if that failed. And so the pivot was, well, what if we just destroy all narrative and just flood the zone with incomprehensible nonsense? And it kind of seems like that's the game plan, to just spew narrative in all direction.
Yeah, and it creates like it I don't know, like it's tough to say this without sounding like a prick or like an elitist or something, but like people who are like extremely online kind of understand and can parse through this, right? Like you or I or most of the people listening to this kind of can look at this and understand that it's just like darkly funny and retarded. But boomers don't know how to navigate this information landscape, and fittingly, they've been one-shotted by this, where the vast majority of people over the age of 60 have real, genuine difficulty understanding what is taking place, like politically, in terms of pop culture, the internet, anything like that. Like you see all these polls that come out where, overwhelmingly Democrats, and this is usually like boomers, because they're the ones who respond to polls, they will say like, oh yeah, the Charlie Kirk shooter was a MAGA guy, conservative guy. This guy shooting up the ICE facility, that's another MAGA guy. There's all this weird right-wing violence. And, this is obviously not true, like for anyone who can parse through information at all. But that flooding the zone by saying like, no, this guy, what do you mean? This guy wasn't a leftist. Like, MSNBC, CNN, The Atlantic, they all come out and say, no, his motivations are unclear. In fact, some people think he maybe was a Trump voter. And then that actually sets people on like the wrong path. And then for people either go off where they just believe something that's just face value not true, and you get like really rabid old boomers who go do these like protests outside of government agencies or whatever, and it's like a bunch of geriatrics who just hold signs. It's like, no kings, we're tired of whatever. And then you have it's like you should be doing something else, like you should be fishing, like why is there a 65-year-old dude standing out here like there's a serious risk of like a king taking over the United States or something? Like, do something else. Or because things are so incoherent, like the item itself, which is already ridiculous, then gets turned into an even less coherent conspiracy theory immediately after the initial like incoherent act. And so you get like the podcast community, like the content making community will look at this and be like, yeah, it was actually Israeli Mossad, and they have a secret, they call it the Eye of Solomon, and it lets left-wing terrorists see through the walls of fucking ICE vans. And so that's why he, you know,
The Eye of Solomon is just in real life wall hacks.
right. Like this guy went into the gaming console of his Palantir fucking AI glasses and enabled no clip, and now he can go through walls.
Black magic is just
Like
this fucking terminal, like it's an oblivion.
yeah, and it'll be like this whole attack is just designed to distract people from the fact that Bridget Macron has a penis and is Michelle Obama's gay male lover, and like, you know, and that is unquestionably true, you know, but that's not information that most people are ready for, and so it just turns into this like ridiculous shit where you will have like Candace Owens just just really going hard on, you know, things that should never even be strung together as concepts, and it's made worse. Like you saw that this guy apparently wrote anti-ICE on his bullets, right?
Yeah, which actually, weirdly enough, it seems as if he did it in ballpoint pen. Which,
Yeah.
like, have you ever tried to write on brass with anything? Like, let alone a ballpoint pen?
Well,
I can't think of anything
You
more
know,
difficult.
we shy away from the ballpoint pen conspiracies on this podcast, Vernon. You know, if and Frank had enough problems with that. You know?
Dude, that's why on the M1 Garand that killed Hitler, when I was at my local gun store, all the bullet casings wrote anti-SS in ballpoint pen.
Right? Yeah, you know, and it is. So here's the thing about the anti-ICE, because the leftists immediately are like, we wouldn't say that. We would just say fuck ICE or abolish ICE, which you know, is probably true. Like that seems to be mostly what they say. Because writing anti-ICE, and you're correct, like writing on the ballpoint pen onto a brass cylinder is not, you know, not something the smartest guy would do. And that probably fits with this guy based off of, you know, his appearance and his political leanings.
I thought you were going to make some insightful point about his medical history, and you were like, "Yeah, he just looks dumb." Which is true. Like that's
yeah. Well, you know, like he needed a haircut, right? This is a guy with like long hair and like the little.
Your Honor, have you seen how dumb he looks?
Yeah, right. You know, we're doing it idiocracy style. You know, I mean, Your Honor, just look at the guy, and
with a haircut like that,
yeah,
send him to Gitmo.
Right. Well,
I mean, honestly, maybe we didn't even need the 357 SIG. If we had just been judging haircuts and beards, 9/11 never would have happened.
Yeah, man. You know, it's true, but it's also like writing anti-ICE on a bullet is stupid, and it does open the door for like, what is this, like a low effort like conspiracy or something? Like, think about what we would say if there were like a shooting, like a mass shooting at like a mosque or a temple or something like that, and like 20 minutes later the FBI under the Biden administration uploaded an image of a shell casing that just said anti-Semitic on it.
Never mind, my joke isn't funny. Keep doing what you were doing.
Right, like just like who would say anti-I like the
well, honestly, man, like that's sort of what I felt about did you see that like pro John Brown gun club poster that went up in DC, where it's like, all right,
yeah,
I mean, that might be true, but also like that's like responding to like a blood tribe flyer in like Langley, Virginia. It's like, dude, what do you think that's gonna do?
Right. And you know, so like I think the guy who did this is obviously like, and this is like the tragedy of, I don't know, creating situations where it's difficult for people to just tell north from south, like because everything is behind 50 layers of like irony or obfuscation or mixed incentives, or it's just difficult. Like this person was 29 years old, the person who carried this out. So not a kid, like by any stretch, but this is, again, based on like his appearance, his political leanings, his online presence. Like this is someone who's living the life of a 15-year-old, basically. Like this is, genuinely like retarded in the sense that it is slower in progression than what it should have been. Like a 29-year-old should not be thinking this way, should not look this way, should not hold these types of political beliefs, should have a better rifle. Like you should have more than $75 by the time you're 29. Like, so that's like a problem. And it is a tragedy because in like maybe another time or something like that, this guy could have been like a productive member of society. But in the like internet era of like everything's an op, everything's a conspiracy, but also everything is hyper political. If you are one of these guys who gets kind of pulled into this left wing nonsense, like you think you're really doing something, but you're opening fire on 3 Guatemalans purely out of negligence, and then shooting yourself, and your corpse is like a mutilated fat body on like a low roof. It's not good, and everything surrounding it is for no reason. Like it's totally incoherent. Like, and it's not a tragedy in the sense, like in the good way, right? Like famous tragedies, like popular tragedies, tend to pair like fate versus free will, or like passion versus reason, or like there's always some like interplay of compelling but contraposed human concepts. But in this case, it's just like a dead fat kid who did something really retarded and accidentally killed 3 guys in the back of an ice van, before turning himself into a cadaver in like 4K. And it doesn't seem like that's a great way to like keep letting a country run. Like
it's suboptimal conflict resolution.
Yeah.
To kill Guatemalans and then kill yourself. An impotent rage. But in all seriousness, I know what you mean. And I was listening to a podcast, I believe it was a New Founding, had an anonymous guest on. And he was talking about the very real Arrested Development produced by obviously like certain features in education, right? Preventing people from resolving conflicts in a normal adult manner, foisting everything upon an institution to manage everything about them. And effectively how that creates people who have really never done anything in their lives. They're simply consumers and like, I guess you would say, like almost worker drones. Like they can do homework maybe, and then anything else is done for them by a complicated system. And it's no shock that there are an incredible number of just non-functional adults. And it's like, okay, is it their fault? In an immediate proximate sense, yes, it is. But also we have to understand that like a lot of these guys never stood a chance from the start. And okay, yeah, you take that sort of Arrested Development, that inability to manage conflict, that inability to emotionally regulate, and you stick those people into like the most novel circumstances possible. You put like a Skinner box in their brain that is feeding them the most insane radical propaganda the world has ever seen, like Radio Rwanda style, for 10 years. It's like, no joke, this was going to happen. Like you basically created an army of like 85 IQ, 30 BMI Manchurian candidates and just kind of given them all different code words.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like unironically, code word Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
That guy just thought you were talking about the McRib,
Right.
but nonetheless, he's ready to kill,
Right,
and they've
right.
pointed him at a job lot at Home Depot.
Yeah, right. No, it's yeah. Yeah, it's like they did MK Ultra on like Bill Dodrieve instead of Ted Kaczynski.
It's like they did. What was it? It was McNamara's Idiots and MK
Yeah, yeah.
Ultra, and they just ran it at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, it's really like not great, and it seems, it doesn't seem likely that this is going to
Well,
slow
I
down.
would say that retarded MK Ultra is slightly worse than not great. So we have our AAR on our retarded MK Ultra. Initial signs are not strong.
Yeah, yeah, we're bearish on this. That's
Let's circle back on this in a few weeks.
yeah. We'll see where it is. So yeah, Giuseppe Zangara. To get back to this, because I was like researching, I was like, are there other instances of retarded MK Ultra? And what I came up with, like what I found was a pretty surprisingly like basically one big anti-Italian joke, which is egg on my face as an Italian, but it's too good not to share. So Giuseppe Zangara tried to kill FDR. Okay, so
I think I treated your people too harshly, because that's
yeah, right.
I realize it's a dangerous joke to finish, but my sympathies are with polio. I'll put it that way.
Right. Yeah, he attempted to kill FDR in 1933. I'll read you the excerpt from some of this Claude output, because it's surprisingly like pointed in its anti-Italian discrimination. Zangara was a 32-year-old Italian immigrant, a bricklayer by trade, who had been living in the United States since 1923. What made his case so unusual was his intense fixation on chronic stomach pain that had plagued him for years. He became convinced that his physical suffering was somehow caused by capitalists and political leaders, though he could never articulate a coherent explanation for this connection. So this is a guy who has a stomach ache. And
honestly, this man, he seems like one of us.
yeah,
Them?
this could be Bird.
This could be me. Like,
And it says Zangara's worldview was a confused mixture of anti-capitalist sentiment, but without any sophisticated understanding of economic systems, a hatred of authority figures, particularly presidents and wealthy people, a personal victimization complex, believing his stomach problems were somehow caused by the political system, and fatalistic thinking, because he seemed to believe that killing a president would somehow alleviate both his personal suffering and that of other people.
so here's what I'm going to say. Like, we've seen the problems with Tylenol as a pain reliever. There are other options.
Yeah.
Holistic remedies, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. So this guy goes to a speech by FDR in Miami. FDR is talking, in Zangara. And this is really what seals the deal here. And this is where he relates to you. Roosevelt was giving remarks from an open car when Zangara, standing on a wobbly folding chair about 25 feet away, fired 5 shots from a .32 caliber pistol. Zangara missed Roosevelt entirely, but he did wound 5 other people.
Wait, Lee. This is answering a very important question, which is the question has been asked: are Italians white? By sailor's law.
Yeah, this is the proof.
Study seems to indicate not.
This is the proof. Yeah, he injured the mayor of Chicago, who later died. So that was the only death.
Again, the fact that this is a Chicago public official killed is lending credence to my argument.
Yeah, and it says what made Zangara's case so bizarre was how he consistently returned to his physical ailments as a justification for political violence. During his trial, he repeatedly complained about his stomach, saying things like, "My stomach hurt, make me hurt long time." And capitalist...
Wait, so he's like...
These are direct quotes. Capitalist no got pain in stomach, but make others pain in stomach. President Roosevelt, I want to make it 50-50. Since my stomach hurt, I get no money from my country.
I mean, honestly, he's convinced me. This is like a BBC Pigeon article.
Well, he's just Italian. And it's,
My point stands.
Yeah.
Your Honor, I rest my case.
Yeah, it says psychiatrist who examined Zangara found him to be of average intelligence.
Wait, what?
But with a severely disordered thought process. He wasn't...
Otherwise normal, but he thinks like a donkey. It's like, okay.
Right. It's the most coherent Italian anarchist. And...
Otherwise normal. He's practically illiterate, moronic, and mewling. It's like,
right.
What does normal mean in this context?
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is the best part. Zangara was executed in Florida's electric chair on March 20th, 1933, just 33 days after the assassination attempt. Even in his final statements, he remained focused on his stomach problems, reportedly saying, and this is a direct quote, "Push a button." To his executioners.
Comedic Italian accent. What was his last meal? Was it like fettuccine alfredo?
And so that was it. That was how he died. He said, "Push it a button." And he was killed.
I mean, look, it's just a tragic tale. A man after my own heart, enraged, singularly focused on how his medical issues are caused by the elite.
This is
borderline
a very
illiterate.
Yeah, this is like a primitive Q-tard.
Wait, actually, maybe this is connected to the Q mythology. Maybe this is all fake. That he's gonna come back like RFK Senior and set the world right.
Yeah. So this was of all the incoherent, ridiculous shit.
Joe Biden rally, you hear 5 shots ring out, and a 110-year-old Italian man wanders up as 5 people in the background slump to the ground.
Right, with his Beretta Bobcat.
Yeah.
Loaded with Fiocchi Full Metal Jacket.
Look, man, at 85 cents a round, you got to take what you can get. I don't want to, bring up anything too dark, but how familiar are you with the most recent borderline mentally deficient Italian person to shoot someone in public in America, Luigi Mangione?
Yeah.
Because at least some small part of the speculation about why he did it had to do with the fact that apparently he had a back injury and he was obsessed with blaming his back injury
Yeah.
on capitalism. So all I'm saying is maybe this is just what your people do. That they get sick and they're like, all right, it's the time honored tradition. It's time to find someone rich and shoot them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. There's something to it.
And
Maybe
honestly, look, in the year of our Lord 2025, the progressive time, we understand that in much the same way that Africa time is different than my conception as an Anglo. Maybe we just have to let the Italian anarchists do it. It's their culture. Who am I to say what is an illegitimate expression of medical grief?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know. I got a kick out of the Zingara thing, and I feel
fair,
like
the last words are just hilarious.
Push the button.
Inevitably, right, when the libtards get back in and you and I are sent to libtard Gitmo, the last thing I'm going to be thinking is they're powering up the electric chair.
Just
right?
pushing the button.
Just pushing the button. They'll be incredibly confused. I'm like, oh, he doesn't even look Italian. Why would he say that? That's what Bird and Lee said.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. You're like just swarthy enough to pull it off.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I mean, I was given my honorary med card, so I feel like I can say it. I can say your words.
Yeah. I'm not offended. You have a pass. I'll give you.
Yeah, I could say.
Give you a Guido pass.
Actually, funny story that in a previous job, I worked with a lot of, shall we say, working class Italian guys, and not having grown up in that culture, I did not know that many of the things I was told were in fact horrific intra-Italian racial slurs. And then, I was talking with one of the other guys and I said like, oh, that is, blah, 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 the Dago. And he was like, what did you say? And I was like, I don't know. That's what everyone calls him. I didn't know. Yeah. So, it turns out they don't tend to appreciate when you use their favorite words. Who would have known?
Yeah. I can see that.
All I'm saying is I'm building up a comprehensive list of similarities here, and this has gone from a Venn diagram to just a single circle.
Yeah. You're just like, well, relax, man. Don't get upset. I'm shopping for a Brita Bobcat online right now. Like it's.
I'm shopping for a Hellcat. Which type?
Yeah.
I've had that joke in the chamber the entire time, and I was just looking for a way to pull it out.
Yeah, it's good. All right. Where can people find you? What's your plugs?
Jay Burden Show, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. It's a podcast. You'll find it.
Sweet. All right, dude. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, sure thing, man. This is a ton of fun.
All right, I'll see you.